Hello everyone. So today we'll be discussing an important topic for individual investors regarding the taxation of ULIPs. So there are two criteria for the ULIPs bought before 1/2/2021 and those that are bought on or after 1/2/2021. So we'll go through it in a jiffy. So the first one is there were amendments made in the Finance Act 2021 wherein under section 1010D certain amount or maturity proceeds received during ULIPs was considered to be taxable. So what is it? If you have bought the ULIP before 1st February 2021, then maturity benefits still remain tax free irrespective of what the premiums you have paid or the tenure of these policies. मतलब अगर आपने कोई यूलिप की पॉलिसी 1 फरवरी 2021 से पहले खरीदी हुई है तो प्रीमियम चाहे कितना भी हो आपका पॉलिसी का पूरा टैक्स फ्री रहेगा. सेकेंड, अमाउंट रिसीव्ड अंडर यूलिप ऑन ओकेजन ऑफ डेथ व्हाटएवर द डेट ऑफ परचेज ऑफ यूलिप मे बी, मतलब कोई भी तारीख हो परचेज की पूरा का पूरा एग्जेम्प्ट रहेगा फॉर द लीगल हेयर और द नॉमिनी दैट वाज नॉमिनेटेड एट द टाइम ऑफ परचेज. ध्यान रखिएगा, अगर आपको खुद को पैसे मिलते हैं और आपने यूलिप खरीदा हुआ है 1 फरवरी 2021 से पहले तो पूरा अमाउंट टैक्स फ्री होगा जो भी अमाउंट आपको रिसीव हो. और अगर इन केस जिसके नाम पे यूलिप है वो गुजर जाता है और उसके लीगल हेयर को कोई पैसे मिलते हैं, चाहे कितनी भी अमाउंट का यूलिप हो, चाहे वो अमाउंट की कोई पॉलिसी का डेट भी कोई भी हो, चाहे वो 1 फरवरी पहले का हो या बाद का हो, लीगल हेयर या नॉमिनी को जो पैसा मिलेगा पूरा का पूरा टैक्स फ्री गिना जाएगा. नाउ व्हाट अबाउट दोज यूलिप्स दैट वर बॉट ऑन और आफ्टर 1 फरवरी 2021? सर्कुलर 2 ऑफ 2022 को अगर आप रेफर करेंगे जो सीबीडीटी ने इश्यू किया था 19 जनवरी 2022 को, वहां पे एक्सप्लेन किया गया है 4th to 7th प्रोविजो में किस तरह से टैक्सेबिलिटी गिनी जाएगी. सो दिस हैज बीन एक्सप्लेन्ड इन डिटेल बाय द सीबीडीटी. फर्स्ट, 4th proviso says that if you have a single policy and if you purchase the ULIP on or after 1st February 21, it will be exempt provided the premium does not exceed 2,50,000 in any of the years. मतलब टैक्सेबल तब ही गिना जाएगा जब आपने वो प्रीमियम किसी पॉलिसी का 2.5 लाख से ज्यादा भरा हुआ है कोई भी टर्म के लिए. These applies to policies purchased first on or after 1/2/2021. Next, what about for multiple policies? In that cases, it will be exempt for those amount of policies wherein the total of the premium does not exceed 2,50,000. That we'll discuss with examples which have been explained in the circular issued by the CBDT itself, which clearly states that if you have two policies, 1 lakh and 1,50,000 premium you are paying for different policies, and third policy which you have, you are paying 2 lakh rupees as premium, then for those policies whose premium does not aggregate up to 2,50,000, that will be considered for exemptions. The rest it will be taxable. It's a bit complicated, but when you go through the examples, it is quite easy. 6th proviso provides that the 4th and 5th provisions shall not apply in case of sum received on death of a person. That has been discussed in the previous slide itself, which we had clearly stated that whatever the date of purchase may be, in case of expiry of the person who has bought the policy, any amount received by the legal heir or the nominee shall be exempt. 7th proviso empowers the CBDT to issue guidelines with respect to the previous approval of the central government. Now I'll directly go through the circular that was issued in this regard. So circular number 2 of 2022 dated 19 January 22 was issued by CBDT. Guidelines were issued under section 1010D. So Finance Act, I have already discussed this part with you people. On or after 7th proviso we have already discussed. Sum received including any sum, we will not go through this because situation wise से अच्छा examples में चलते हैं, right? We'll go through directly through the examples. You can go through the entire circular by downloading it. So example 1, assessee has the following policy. Now look at the ULIP purchase date. Issue date is what? Before 1/2/2021. So The first thing that we have to check is the date of issue. When it was issued, annual premium was 5 lakhs, sum assured 50 lakhs, consideration received whatever amount, it's not relevant right now. Since this was issued before 1/2/2021, any amount received irrespective of the premium paid, कोई भी premium हो, will be exempt. So देखते हैं, sum received on maturity will be exempt under section 10(10)(d) of section 10 as the policy has been issued before 1/2/2021 and accordingly not covered under the 4th to 7th proviso. That is quite simple. Next we'll come to second example. What is the date of issue? 1/4/21. Now here 4th to 6th provisos will apply. What is the annual premium? 5 lakhs. So is it taxable? Yes, because for an individual policy the premium exceeds how much? 2,50,000. Hence it will be considered taxable. So this consideration received will not be exempt under section 10(10)(d) as per the provisions of 4th proviso, since the annual premium payable on the policy exceeded how much? 2,50,000 rupees. So this was the issue. इसमें आप capital gain का calculation करेंगे by applying the rates that are equivalent to the mutual funds and all those shares and securities. Next we have come across the point, third example. Single policy. What is date of issue? 1/2/2021. आपको 4th, 5th, 6th proviso देखना पड़ेगा, 4th और 5th ही देखना पड़ेगा. What is the premium? 2,50,000. Does he hold more policies over here? No. 2.5 लाख तक के प्रीमियम पे एग्जेम्पशन है. यहाँ पे कितना प्रीमियम है? 2.5 लाख. तो एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा. The consideration will be exempt since the annual premium, as the provisions of 4th proviso will not apply since the annual premium payable on does not exceed 2,50,000. Hence it will be exempt. Simple. हम 4th example पे चलते हैं, बहुत फास्ट जाएंगे. So what is the date of issue? 1/4/21. दोनों पॉलिसीज का एनुअल प्रीमियम 2 लाख है, एक का 3 लाख है. अब देखिए 3 लाख ये बी पॉलिसी कवर नहीं होगा क्योंकि इसका प्रीमियम कहां जा रहा है? 2,50,000 से ऊपर. यहाँ पे एनुअल प्रीमियम कितना है? 2 लाख. ये आप एग्जेम्पशन मिलेगा, बी में नहीं मिलेगा. ओके, कंसिडरेशन रिसीव्ड अंडर यूलिप बी विल नॉट बी एग्जेम्प्ट एंड ए में एग्जेम्पशन मिल जाएगा. अब एक और एग्जाम्पल पे चलते हैं. एग्जाम्पल 5. यहाँ पे 3 पॉलिसीज हैं, A, B एंड C. सो एक ही डेट पे मेच्योरिटी आ रही है. A का अमाउंट 2.5 लाख से कम है, दिस कैन बी कंसिडर्ड. ये 2.5 लाख से कम है, ये भी कंसिडर हो सकता है. C का प्रीमियम 3 लाख से ऊपर है, तो C विल नॉट बी एग्जेम्प्ट. रिगार्डिंग A एंड B, अगर आप इनके एनुअल प्रीमियम्स का टोटल लगाएंगे तो 2.5 लाख ही रहेगा, तो A एंड B can be considered. So it can look at the explanation. Consideration received under ULIP C will not be exempt as per the 5th proviso since aggregate of annual premium for A, B, C exceeds how much? 2,50,000. However, consideration received under A and B shall be exempt since the aggregate of annual premium of these two policies does not exceed 2,50,000. That is quite simple. अब 6th example पे चलते हैं. यहाँ पे देखिए 4 पॉलिसीज हैं. पहले का डेट ऑफ इश्यू सबका चेक करेंगे. एक्स एग्जेम्प्ट क्योंकि वो 1 फरवरी 2021 से पहले खरीदा हुआ है, तो यहाँ पे हमने देख लिया कंसिडरेशन अंडर एक्स विल बी एग्जेम्प्ट एज द पॉलिसी हैज बीन इशूड बिफोर 1/2/2021 एंड इट विल नॉट बी कवर्ड बाय रिसेंटली इंट्रोड्यूस्ड प्रोविजंस. अब रही बात ए, बी और सी की. अब क्योंकि एक्स पूरा एग्जेम्प्ट है, तो जब आप टोटल प्रीमियम कंसिडर करेंगे तो एक्स को कंसिडर करना ही नहीं है बिकॉज इट इज परचेज्ड बिफोर 1 फरवरी 21. अब देखिए ए, बी और सी रहेगा, तो ए, बी में अगर आप फिर से वही पुरानी चीज पे आ जाएंगे, ए और बी का टोटल करिए 2.5 लाख होता है, सी आप टोटल करेंगे तो ऊपर चला जाएगा. सी का वैसे भी प्रीमियम 2.5 लाख से ऊपर जा रहा है, तो सी विल नॉट बी एग्जेम्प्ट. राइट, ए और बी वापस एग्जेम्पशन में आ जाएंगे क्योंकि एक्स को हमें कंसिडर करना ही नहीं है सिंस इट इज बॉट बिफोर 1/2/2021. सो सेम जो पहले एग्जाम्पल में था, यहाँ पे एक एक्स ऐड हुआ तो इसका फर्क पड़ा नहीं. ए, बी फिर से एग्जेम्पशन में आ गया, सी भी एग्जेम्पशन में नहीं आएगा. सो यूलिप विल नॉट बी एग्जेम्प्ट, ए बी एग्जेम्पशन में है. अब देखते हैं, थोड़ा ट्विस्ट किया गया है. अब ये थोड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है. एक्स क्या और इन सब का डेट कौन सा दिया हुआ है? आफ्टर दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. So let us take the seventh example that was given. here the date of issue of all these policies is date of 1/4/21, 1/4/22, 1/4/22. So all of these are 1st February 2021. अब देखिए यहाँ पे annual premium is about 2 lakhs, 1 lakh, 150, 3 lakhs. Now consider the fourth provision. C will never be covered since the aggregate since the premium of this policy is already about 2,50,000. Now what about XAB? Now here if you look into it, X premium is 2 lakhs, A is 1 lakh, and B is about 1,50,000. Now consideration in financial year 31-32, which was received 25 lakhs for X, and rest maturity was in 32-33. So if see here, the investor has an option that he can consider any of the policies he wishes to be considered as taxable. Now if we go by the circular itself, the circular will say that first the assessee did not know what was going to happen in the next years. So what he did in the first year when this policy matured, since X's premium is less than 2,50,000, he would have claimed the exemption. That is what we assumed. So X will be considered for exemption. Now in the next year when these two policies A and B mature, he cannot claim exemption in any of the policies since X 2 lakhs has been done. Now whatever the rest of the premium that is left is about 50,000. Now 50,000 premium was left. Now since A's premium exceeds 1 lakh, exceeds that value of 50,000, if we add these two, then the value will be 3 lakhs. Exemption cannot be availed. If we add these two, since this has already been claimed, we assume, then also exemption will not be availed. So in the next year neither A nor B can be claimed as exemption. Now it is open to the assessee to determine what he can do. Suppose he opts not to claim the exemption under this policy of X in the year 31-32. Then in the next year he has not utilized any of this premium exemption that was given in the 4th and 5th proviso. He can claim exemption of A and B since the total of both these policies is exact 2,50,000. But we'll just go by the example where it is given. Now consideration under X will be exempt in the previous year 31-32 since annual premium does not exceed 2,50,000. Now in the next year, consideration received from ULIPs A, B and C will not be exempt as per the 5th proviso since aggregate of 3 policies, since this has already been claimed as a premium इसका consider किया जाएगा. X का 2,50,000 में से 2 lakhs निकालो, बाकी कौन सा बचेगा? 50,000. दोनों का प्रीमियम 50,000 से ऊपर है तो दोनों में exemption नहीं मिलेगा. So which will fall under these policies? Now consideration of ULIP A will also not be eligible since the aggregate of premium of X that was already claimed and A exceeds 2,50,000. So in this case X will only be considered for exemption. Now suppose that I discuss it with you. If he doesn't claim the exemption of X in the year in which it was matured and consider this for capital gain, then in the next year he can claim A and B as exemption. C to certainly will not be available for exemption. Now let us look at the 8th example. Now 8th example is over here. Annual premium is 1 lakh for X. Policies issue dates are before 1st February 2021. A, B, C again not considered for exemption. X annual premium is 1 lakh, A is 1 lakh and B is 1,50,000. Here we take two examples, first by the circular and first by the option available to the assessee. First by the circular if we go, now if he claims this as an exemption in the first year itself, then the rest of the premium that is left to him is 1,50,000. So X has utilized the first premium limit of out of 2,50,000 he has utilized 1 lakh. So whatever is left is what? 1,50,000. So in the next year when these two policies mature A and B, he can claim any of it since the consideration amount is received is more in this one, and assessee can first go for the capital gain calculation and then determine whichever is more favorable to him. So in this case obviously 1,50,000 will be considered. So X this is already claimed, B which is to be claimed 2,50,000 exact हो गया. Now A will be taxable and C will be taxable, right? So let us go with this. The consideration under ULIPs X will be exempt, right? That is already given. Now consideration under B will only be exempt, that is what we discussed. 250 हो जाता है तो यही exemption X और A को मिलाएंगे तो बरोबर. Next, exemption is restricted to consideration under B only since aggregate of X and B does not exceed 2,50,000. Here instead of A he could have taken instead of B he could have taken A as well, but since both these policies premiums does not exceed 2,50,000, but this is more beneficial to him, so he'll be taking this exemption, right? So this is the consideration here. Instead of ULIP B he could have taken ULIP A, as the aggregate of annual premium of X and A is less than 250 during these term of ULIPs. However, since including B instead of A is more beneficial to the assessee, ULIP B has been considered for exemption. Alternatively, you can also do one thing: you don't claim exemption of X, right? In the next year when both these policies mature, A and B, you can claim the exemption, but you never know what amount you will receive on maturity, since this is a fluctuating type of investment. So this is the consideration. So in this year you can opt not to claim for X, and in the next year you can claim both these two, A and B, since both these premiums don't exceed 2,50,000, right? Go with the ninth example. Now here X, A and B and C are given. 1/4/21 issue after 1/2/2021. So same thing, 12 lakhs. Here what we discussed in the past, that has been discussed over here. Same terms that was given over there: 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 1 lakh, 150 and 3 lakhs. Same thing, same maturity rates, but alternatively what the circular has stated, it is optional on the assessee to determine what he wants to do. So if you go by this number, X, suppose he doesn't claim his exemption, consideration under X was not claimed to be exempt, that is what we discussed in the past. He can have the option. So if he doesn't claim the exemption, capital gain calculation will be done, and then in the next year he has the option of utilizing that 2,50,000 premium. So A and B can be considered that year, in the next year, since both have different maturity. Same maturity is also not any problem for these cases as well. So therefore consideration of ULIP A and B will be exempt. However, since aggregate premium of A, B together does not exceed 2,50,000, that is what we discussed, ULIP X has not been claimed to be exempt, optional upon the assessee of what he wants to do. C तो वैसे भी नहीं मिलेगा because the premium has exceeded for that year of 3 lakh rupees. Now example 10. Now assessee has the following policies, all of which satisfy the conditions. Okay, ठीक है. Now X annual premium 1 lakh, right? Surrender value is given over here. Surrender ho or ya maturity, it's all one and the same thing over here. So now Y in the next year, then A, B and C. So what we have to remember over here, it is all upon the optional cases of assessees. Now surrender value of X and consideration received from Y will be exempt, since the annual premium 2,50,000. Suppose assessee does not know what is going to be considered. Now he will, in the first time in 25, will realize since it is to be considered for exemption, he will go for that exemption, right? So what he will do, he will take this exemption into consideration, right? So what is the amount that is to be considered? 1 lakh over here, 6 lakh and 12 lakhs, 2 lakh हो गया, दोनों का टोटल X और Y. अगर वो सिंपली डेट्स के हिसाब से जाएगा, अब सिर्फ बचता क्या है? 50,000. None of the policies premium may go by these numbers. So A, B and C will be what? Taxable. Consideration received under A, B, C will be taxable as the provision X, since the aggregate of X and Y itself has exceeded 2 lakhs, 50,000 में कोई कवर होता नहीं है, right? Multiple ULIPs का जो provision आपने पढ़ा था. C तो वैसे भी कवर नहीं होगा, आपको देखना था A या B में एग्जेम्पशन मिल पाता है या नहीं, क्योंकि आपने X एंड Y में ही 2 लाख यूटिलाइज कर दिया और इसमें 50,000 बैठ नहीं रहा है, तो आप टुकड़े नहीं कर सकते. सो A, B will be considered taxable. Now it is also optional on the assessee what he wants to do. Now suppose he goes for X, not to claim the exemption. Look at the fact, look at the consideration received, 6 lakhs. Now one thing also is to be considered, how much did he invest. If in the year of 1/7/2025 he determines that he does not want to claim the exemption, then capital gain calculation will be done. Whatever capital gain or loss that will be incurred will have to be adjusted. If there is a loss, it will be given taxation adjustments as far as the provisions are concerned, right? तो if he doesn't consider this, तो फिर Y, A और B में जाएगा. जब नेक्स्ट टाइम पे Y में आएगा तब वो चाहे तो एग्जेम्पशन क्लेम कर सकता है. फिर उसके साथ क्या रहेगा, A और B में से आपको कोई सिलेक्ट करना है. अब सर्टेनली 1 लाख यूटिलाइज हो गया है, बचा कितना, 1.5 लाख. तो 1.5 लाख में B आएगा और A टैक्सेबल हो जाएगा. सो दिस इज बीन एक्सप्लेन इन द नेक्स्ट एग्जाम्पल, राइट? So what is this? If in example 10 the SLE does not claim the exemption with respect to surrender value of X, that is this one. So still he hasn't utilized the limits और ये capital gain में उसने optional ले लिया कि I'll go for the capital gain calculation. Whatever gain or loss that may be done will be calculated. So what will we have in consideration? Then consideration he has an option in next years. So Y में आपके पास option रहेगा 2.5 लाख यूटिलाइज करने का और A और B में भी रहेगा. So then consideration received under ULIP Y will be exempt for the previous year 2031-32 simple, and the consideration received under B will be exempt for the year 2032-33. So Y और B 2.5 लाख हो गया और कंसिडरेशन रिसीव्ड में टोटल मारेंगे तो 30 लाख ही बनता है दोनों का. तो Y और B आप एग्जेम्पशन ले सकते हैं और X, A और C आप टैक्सेबिलिटी में चले जाइए. So this has been explained all over here. So this was basically all about ULIPs calculation. It's a little bit tricky, but if you go by the examples that have been given in the circular number 2 of 2022 that has been released by the CBDT, it is very clear and it is very easy to judge, and it is also good enough for the assessees to first consider whatever capital gain will be incurred or loss will be incurred and then take an option so that the total premium of all the policies does not exceed 2,50,000 and you get to claim a better exemption of all these policies. So going by these figures you can really calculate the part that these exemptions have been given for the smaller taxpayers and high net worth individuals have not been spared. So it's mostly of a tax being laid down on high net worth individuals in ULIPs. So thank you very much for a pleasant listening.